Welcome to the Jefferson County Board of Education meeting on Monday, May 23rd. If you would please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So Mr. Fogel, I think this is one of the favorite parts of our school board meetings.
Yes. This is a highlight full from a week of many highlights for our students and our staff. This is a busy but fun and rewarding time of year. And while there's no possible way we could get every single student in here who deserves accolades at the end of the year, we are fortunate to be able to recognize some of the students who've distinguished themselves either academically or athletically. It's actually been a fantastic year for Jefferson County Schools of Athletes, athletics. Our teams have all represented us so well. And in fact, the Jefferson High School softball team will be headed to states bright and early tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. So I want to make sure that we start with them. Pleased to welcome head coach Desiree Waters up to talk about the success that they've seen, as well as those student athletes who have helped to make that possible.
Hello. Sorry. Can you guys hear me? There we go. First off, I just want to thank you guys for having us and taking the time to recognize our girls as they've worked so very hard this season. And I'm just very, very proud of each and every one of you. And I believe the board has some certificates they would like to hand out.
And we'll get them up on stage.
Okay.
So we'll hand them out. You go on up and hand them out, and we'll get them up there together. Okay. All right. I have been advised by several people who know more about it than I do, not to leap onto the stage. It tends to cause trauma to the back. So warning to our student athletes, keep yourselves healthy. We need you for tomorrow. All right. So this is your opportunity to be recognized by your community and your school. Just come on up here and stand before the board when your coach reads your name.
Alyssa LaGreco. Lacey Lewis. Taylor Presley. Shelby Harris. Kaylee Dalton. Bethany Piercy. Kendall Guy. Emily Mason. Rebecca Munslow. Christina Franco. Chloe Cohen. And Miss Brooke Allen.
And one more acknowledgement here. Some of those names seem familiar. Anyone here just graduate recently? Round of applause for our seniors. Hats off for perfect attendance. So I'll do my old radio days. Coach, what are the keys to the game tomorrow?
Oh gosh. Well, we play on Wednesday. Um, but we're going to come together and play together as a team. That's the biggest thing that we've had going for us this season. It doesn't take just one player, one person at the plate, one person on the mound. It takes us all 12 of us together to make it happen. So that's our plan.
Great. Round of applause again. Good luck.
And a thank you to whoever posts or puts that online. Wherever that comes from, Hans, I don't know. But when you can click the link and watch the game when you can't be there, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I think that's TV 10. Yes, ma'am. Oh, forgot I had it around my neck. Yes. I will grab a picture of you all once you're back at your seats. I'm sorry.
Don't leave.
Okay, recently, James Rumsey Technical Institute recognized their Skills USA state competition medalists, students from across the Eastern Panhandle, including Jefferson County schools, who have achieved in their field. For anyone not familiar, Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry. Here to tell us more about the success of these students and why this is so significant are Kevin Price and Ron Odom. We'll go ahead and ask the students to come up with them so that we can spare you the long walk.
All right, thank you. I'm Ron Odom. This is Kevin Price, and we are two of the Skills USA advisors at James Rumsey. And James Rumsey actually competed in 14 competitions at the state leadership and skills conference in April. And now there's 14 competitions, we placed 13. And of those 13 places, 7 students from Jefferson County walked away with a medal. So that was really good. We do have 3 of the students here, but I would like to read all the names on here. And if I'm just going to read them in order. So, Anakin, I know you're going to be first. So as I read them, just let the board recognize who you are. And you have certificates for them? Okay. Okay, so first we have Anakin Carmichael. Anakin is in our graphic design program, Mr. Ware's program, and he won the silver medal for extemporaneous speaking. Not with us today is Sophia Cummings, who's in Mr. Morgan's multimedia publishing class, and she won the bronze medal for job skills demonstration at open category. Also not with us is William Harris, who's in Mrs. Butcher's robotics program, and he is a gold medalist, a part of a team of 2 in mobile robotics technology. We do have with us Ivy Jenkins, Mr. Ware's graphic design program, and she's a gold medalist for advertising design. Not with us is Addie LaBombard, who's Mr. Ware's graphic design program, and she's a gold medalist for t-shirt design. Christian Morrell is Mrs. Butcher's robotics program, and he received a bronze medal in urban search and rescue, and he's not with us today. And finally, we have Patrick Wilson, who's in Mr. Morgan's multimedia publishing, and he won a silver medal for job skills demonstration A.
All right, thank you all very much for coming back. We have, and you're all seniors, you're graduated. Congratulations. Thank you for taking the time to come back. What was the most rewarding part of Skills USA and being part of the competition for you?
Probably just the experience of getting to meet so many new people at one event.
How about you, Ivy?
For my competition, expressing creativity and having fun with that.
Anakin, I know you're one for words.
It really,
High expectations.
well, it really grows the confidence of the people that participate in the competitions.
And do you think these are skills you'll keep with you your whole life? Wonderful. We look forward to great things. Thank you very much. Let me get a picture.
Great job, you guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you. And last but certainly not least, one of our favorite traditions in West Virginia and a rite of passage for eighth graders is West Virginia history. Part of that, of course, is the Order of the Knights of the Golden Horseshoe. Jefferson County Schools has 6 students who were being recognized by the WVDE this year. And here to honor them this evening, we have from Harpers Ferry Middle School, Allison Kern, Caitlin Barker, and Allison Whitaker, and Peter Deanna from Wildwood Middle School. Any of those teachers here to join us? Yes, wonderful.
Sure. Well, thank you, board, for having us this evening. We know that there are students throughout the county that were working for this, worked very, very hard for this. And I and my colleagues, I know we are super proud of ours that came from Harpers Ferry, but I know that there are some from Shepherdstown and Wildwood. So we're very proud of all of our county students, but this is something that I know that they work extremely hard for, that they study. My kids were studying day in and day out. And it's such a great recognition from the state to be a knight of the Golden Horseshoe. That's such a great thing. So we're very proud of them. Did you want to say? Well, I think you guys are awesome. So.
So if all the students would please come up here on stage and join us, we'll read your names off while you're making the walk, and then we'll introduce you to the crowd and give you a moment to talk about West Virginia history. That way it's not a pop quiz. You can think about it real quick on your way out.
You may give them questions.
Yeah, we'll do questions. Students come on up here. We're going to read off the names, and then I'll introduce you in person. Braylon Scott.
Braylon Scott. Brianna Trujillo. Douglas Gillette. Shane Gleason. Scott Leonard. And Winona Nicodemus.
All right, I'm going to carefully get up so I don't harm myself in front of everybody. All right, what's your name, sir?
My name is Shane Gleason.
All right, Shane, tell us your favorite aspect of West Virginia history and what you learned this year as a member of the Golden, or working towards the Golden Horseshoe.
My favorite part of West Virginia history is probably how it was founded, just during the Civil War and all that conflict and splitting from a state that was already founded. And what was the other thing that you said?
And what was your favorite part about working towards the Golden Horseshoe? Something you learned you had no idea about before your state?
I had no idea about like all the southern aspects of the state. That was probably the one thing that like stuck with me from my WV history.
How about you, sir? What's your name?
I'm Douglas Gillette.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. Which school do you go to, sir?
I go to Wildwood Middle School.
Right, and you, sir?
I'm Douglas Gillette. I go to Harpers Ferry Middle School. I think the thing I like most about West Virginia and its history is its military importance in the Civil War and how many battles were fought in it.
Were you surprised as you learned about that as to how significant we were?
Yeah, but I also had a feeling because how many rivers there are and how important they are for transportation. But I was pretty surprised.
See, I would never have thought about the transportation. That's why you're a Golden Horseshoe Knight and I am not. Ma'am, which school do you go to and what's your name?
Harpers Ferry. My name's Brianna Trujillo.
All right, and your favorite aspect of West Virginia history that you've learned this year?
I don't really have a favorite. I just really liked learning about everything about West Virginia.
What-
Oh, there's
What about in terms of things you learned that you had no idea about West Virginia?
pretty much everything.
That's why we do it in 8th grade. Well, congratulations. And ma'am, which school do you go to and what's your name?
Harpers Ferry Middle School. My name is Braylon Scott, and my favorite aspect of West Virginia is Storer College, one of the first Black African American colleges.
And that's right here.
Yeah.
Great. And what about in terms of something you had no idea about that you learned this year?
Storer College.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our Knights of the Golden Horseshoe. Let me get a picture. All right. Lights on 3. 1, 2, 3. Not a single one of you. One more time.
Nice.
Horseshoe on 3. 1, 2, 3. Horseshoe. There we go. Thank you very much. Come on down. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll I think have some more folks to recognize sporadically over the summer and then hit it hard in September. I think we're looking forward to a bit of a break and then we'll be back strong. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Please, I don't want to keep you.
Back up here, girls. Come on. One more time.
One more time.
Just remember basketball.
I came out and watched you all play a couple times and I was quite impressed.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've had a few championship photos taken. Great job, you guys.
Good luck. Thank you.
All right. Is there a deputy superintendent of operations update this evening?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, there is. Lucky us. We have a special guest today for operations, Mr. Brandon Caton, who is our Director of Safety and Maintenance, is here to give the board a brief overview of a program that we've been working on for the last year as we continue to, as you guys have noted previously, our building administrators have a lot on them, and it's always important for us. They're sort of our ambassadors out into the public. And one of the things that we frequently interact with folks on is building use. Our buildings are the community's buildings. However, with 1.3 million square feet under roof, that is a lot to manage. And it takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of people to get that done. And Mr. Brandon has been working along with Mr. Johnson, who did a lot of legwork to make this happen on an automated system to make things both far more convenient and transparent for the public and easier for our administrators. So he's going to go over that with you briefly.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up. So we are going to do a quick overview of the program. And for those of you that do not know what the old process was, next slide, please, Jason. The old process was paper-based. It was very time-consuming due to the process. First, a requester would have to fill it out, turn it out to that building principal. And then that building principal would either approve or deny. And then it would be sent intercounty mail to me for my approval or denial. And then at that point, it would then be circulated back to the building principal. And then that person would then communicate with the requester in the community whether or not they had approval or denial. So you can imagine how difficult that was to keep track at some of our high schools where there's something going on every single evening. There was also some communication issues where it would take multiple times. They would either have to speak with the principal or also with me. So the new process is web-based. The requesters create an account through the website, and they can also request multiple areas or buildings with one request. So you do not have to fill out multiple times. You just fill out one request. You can ask for the cafeteria, the gym, the library, multiple areas at one time. It also gives you instant notification for approval, denial, and updates. And it's also timestamped for documentation and who did it. So as soon as the requester submits it, that principal or designee gets a notification by their email that someone has requested a space in their building. From there, the principal can approve or deny. As soon as that happens, it gets sent to my email. And then I either approve or deny for the district level. Next. So this allows the requesters to see each school's calendar as well. So instead of the phone tag back and forth for them asking, is Tuesday available or Thursday available from 6 to 8, they can then, when they go in to do the request, they can already see the calendar of what's already blocked out from what's already been taken up, which saves the principal a tremendous amount of time, especially at your elementary schools where we get a lot of requests for Little League basketball. So that's a big thing. So, it saves them a lot of time. There's also a electronic payment system so that we do not have to worry about checks or sending out invoices. All of it is billed before the event. Now, 95% of our time, the billing is only for custodians or, if they request something that costs the district money as far as manpower goes for an extra custodian, because that is OT on their overtime. There's also a messaging system that's built into the site that will allow for instant communication. Next slide. So you can also see, this is the admin dashboard. So this is what I see. And the cool thing about it is that beforehand, to be honest, it was very difficult for me to know what was going on in any building at any given day. Right now, as you can see there, it'll tell me what's going on that day, what's going on that week, and what's going on that month, and also how many requests that have been requested that day that have not been responded to yet. So it's very, very helpful. And next slide, Jason, you'll see. So this is the event tab for the day. So this was last Thursday or Friday, I think. So you can see right there, those are all the events that were happening in Jefferson County schools that evening. And the next slide will show the events for the week. So that shows all the events for the week. And it is if there was ever an issue that we needed to know what was going on in the county or what's going on at Jefferson High School that evening, we immediately can just go right here, find it, see what's going on where, as opposed to before. Jefferson High's folder by September is this thick. I mean, it's 3 inches just in September. Right now, there are 3 folders deep. So this makes it much more streamlined, not only for me and the principals, but also for the requesters in the community. There's instant messaging as the next one, like I mentioned. So this right here is some dialogue between me and Ms. Gardner from AlphaBest, which I knew she already had her insurance certificate, but I still needed it upload in the system. So that's one other thing. Anyone that requests, they also can upload their certificate of insurance straight to it. So we have to verify that before it's approved. The other good thing about it is nothing really gets slipped through the cracks, because it will send you a notification every single day until you either approve or deny. So it is not something where if it can get left behind, because it will send them another one the very next day. Next slide, Jason. So the experience so far, we've only been doing this the last few months, but and it has been a change for everyone. Some people have taken it on right away, and some people have struggled with it, and we've done some one-on-one. But the principals enjoy the immediate feedback. They're able to track all their events with the calendar. Before, when I was at a building, I had a big calendar in my office where I had to make sure what Little League team was in the gym and what building from what times, and where Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts was in the cafeteria. Now they just go straight to their calendar and it's all right there. They can change it by color code. it just streamlines everything for them at a much easier rate. And from a district standpoint, it's made my life very, very easy as far as this goes, because before, like I said, we had a lot of folders and a lot of paperwork, and now it's all in one spot. And from a requester standpoint, it's been much faster for them, and the communication is much better, and they're not playing phone tag as much, trying to get a hold of someone. So at that point, that's a quick overview. And if there's any questions about the program. Long overdue.
Definitely long overdue. How, now, are the principals responsible, or do their secretaries, like, who fills out the calendar online originally with their events?
95% of our building admin does it themselves.
Okay, so they work in, like, say, the middle schools, they'll work with the ADs to make sure all those things are.
Right. So we have been pushing for that. Right now, our middle school principals have been the ones submitting it.
Okay.
But at our high school level, because there is so much going on, and we do get a lot of requests for this gym, Jefferson's auxiliary gym. We need to have our athletic events put in there because our schools get first priority. And then from that point forward, if it's already in there, no one's going to request it because it'll be blocked out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where did the program come from?
School Space. I'm sorry. It's schoolspace.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So they can answer all these online. So we don't, no more.
No more.
Yes.
Yes. We still have it just in case. I mean, obviously you have to have an SOP, but it's all online. And we took everything from there. All that verbiage is all in that program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, next we have the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting held May 9th, 2022, and the special board meeting held May 16th, 2022?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. Any questions or comments? All in favor of approving the minutes from May 9th and May 16th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, citizens' comments. And the first one, Mr. Johnson's on Zoom. It's Donald Hawkins. And just a reminder that all speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers are prohibited from making negative or derogatory comments using a name or position by which an individual can be identified. Comments may not be threatening, profane, vulgar, or abusive, or the speaker will be required to cease his or her comments. And just please be kind.
Can you see me?
Can't see you. I get.
No, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
All right, let me try and fix this. I love technology.
There you
There,
go.
can you see me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. First of all, before I start, I'd like to say I really hate I can't be here, but I tested positive for COVID-19. So sorry I can't be there to speak tonight, but I'm happy to speak with you all via Zoom. So I'll get started. So good evening, Jefferson County Schools. My name is Donald Hawkins, Donnie Hawkins, and I will be a rising senior at Washington High School. Friday, April 8th was one of the most sad days of all of my time in school. Our music director had some news and we were all excited considering a recent second placement and scores from the judges at the Martinsburg Show Choir Festival. We were told in a very blunt and hurtful way that show choir will not be happening next year. The announcement was extremely emotional to all of us, and immediately there were people who broke down in tears about the decision. Watching this was extremely hard for me to witness. Many students had a lot of questions about why show choir was being eliminated. Numerous times during the conversation between the students and Mr. Cooper said, you can just hop on an ROTC bus and go to Jefferson. I don't care. This comment towards us really hurt us and made us feel extremely hopeless.
Mr. Hawkins, just a reminder, please don't use individual names.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This comment towards us really hurt us and made us feel extremely hopeless. While all of us were crying, we were told that in place of show choir would be an all guys choir. Even though there was another route for the guys, I did not try out for the tenor bass choir because that was the choir replacing show choir. While I was first chair overall singer for the West Virginia American Choral Directors Association, I could not stab my friends in the back who were hurt by the decision. After some parents rallied together to try and give the students an opportunity to have show choir next year, we were given an opportunity to hold auditions. The announcement from the music director was very faint, and when asked why he was holding auditions, he said, because my boss is making me do it. We were all very confused by his statement, and we continue to be confused about the decision. Auditions were not held like they normally were this year. We were given an extremely challenging audition process that required students to make up their own choreography and choose their own song. We all felt doomed before we even auditioned, and this pushed away a lot of people from auditioning. In past years, we had a choreographer come in and choreograph our audition routine, and a song was chosen by the director. We were not expecting this new challenging audition process. My friend who was featured as a soloist in numerous songs throughout the year now have no musical outlet because besides basic choir. This is extremely devastating for her, and not only her, but lots of kids besides her in show choir, because there's a lot of other kids who have no musical outlet either besides basic choir. Because of the decision, it seems there are no other options for us. Jefferson pop singers have already held their auditions, and we cannot just leave.
Mr. Hawkins, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's your 3 minutes. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
All right, next up we have Tracy Cox, followed by Jennifer Backus.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I'm here with my son, Jackson Cox, who is a student at Blue Ridge Elementary. He's been there for now a year. And of course, I pack his lunch, but for what I was told by my son and other students, the school lunch there is pretty horrible. And it's been horrible for a while now. We want to know what you all are planning to do about it. We're hopeful that something will be done where the students will have at least edible lunches. Again, my son packed, but I'm speaking on behalf of other parents and students who attend. The other issue that I wanted to address, I was asked to talk later in an executive meeting, but compassion overall. When people come up to speak, you say, be kind, be kind. And I hear that and I take that in consideration when talking at any point. However, it doesn't seem that this board and the superintendent is kind to parents and students in the school system, in my opinion. And learning what happened at graduation, I was told not to say a name or speak on whatever, but either who, it was very, very, very heartless to not consider the mother and the parents and the family and the classmates of a student that passed away. That's not acceptable. I would plan on taking my son out of this school because of the school board and the heartlessness that I've experienced since I've been here. We've only been here for a year. And just coming here to these meetings, it doesn't seem like anything that the parents bring up is at all addressed. It doesn't seem that majority of you don't care for anything that's going on and any complaints that the parents or students have. It's just disgusting in my opinion. And learning what I learned over the weekend about this poor child and her family and how the superintendent responded. My thing is, why are you here? If you're not here to care about our kids and show us what we need to have, which is compassion, treat our kids with respect so that they can learn to do the same thing, then why are you here? Quit the job and let somebody else have it. And hopefully the new oncoming person who's coming into the BOE, she will show compassion. She will vote on things on her own and not have other people tell her what to do and have her and think for her. So I'm hopeful for her and welcome. And I hope that this can change a little bit here, but this is insane.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer Backus, followed by Melissa Hawkins.
I'm not a very good public speaker, so I brought my phone. I just want to express both my heartbreak and my disappointment in the decision to go back on the promises made to the parents of Alana Williams. Our family moved here from Maryland in 2015, but we still attend church down in Montgomery County. And I often brag about how happy we are with the schools here and with the school district in general. This past weekend, I was embarrassed when I had to answer questions from my church family who had heard the story from social media, and I didn't have an answer as to why the family wasn't able to walk the stage in place of their daughter. The mother was told it wasn't protocol to allow her to walk in place of her precious daughter. It's not protocol to lose your daughter at the age of 18 either, but here we are. And maybe there should be some kind of protocol in place so that no other family has to go through this again in the future.
Next is Melissa Hawkins, followed by Stacy Gardner.
Madam President, Jefferson County Board Superintendent. If with your permission, I would like to pass out these correspondence that I've had just to the board members and the superintendent.
Mr. Fogel can help you if you just
Okay,
give them
that'd
to
be
him.
great. Thank you. There's 6 copies there. I'm known as Donnie's mom, and I'm kind of gonna hinge where he left off. By the way, he didn't know he wasn't supposed to say anybody's name. He said, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. He left off on the part of the audition process. Auditions were done very, very different this year. Students were supposed to learn an entire song within 5 days and make up their own choreography. I'm a seasoned performer, performed for 10 years. I couldn't do that now, couldn't have done it when I performed, couldn't have done it when I was 17, 18 years old. It was a very intimidating process. The show choir is being replaced by an all male choir, a tenor-based choir. You'll note from the correspondence, I went through the chain of command. I started with Mr. Cooper. I went through Mrs. Marcus. And I'm not only speaking for myself, but other parents. We chose to go through the chain of command, try to resolve this issue. Mrs. Marcus said, we begged Mrs. Marcus for a fair, reasonable audition process. To the best of her knowledge, maybe she did that. However, it was much different than any other past years. Now we're faced with a decision where there are students who want to do show choir. 9 students, the audition sheet was put up with only 12 slots on the sheet. That sheet was completely full. 7 students showed up at the auditions. 2 submitted online audition tapes. There were students out with COVID. That's how Donnie got COVID. And there was only 1 day of auditions in a very short time frame, being announced in the school system only 1 day over the intercom system. So now we're just faced with the situation where Jefferson High School has a show choir and Washington High School is not going to have a show choir. So what do we do with those students who want to do show choir? The Washington High School students, they don't want to be state champions. They want to have their niche, their place, their thing. Not everybody has to be a winner at everything. They just have to feel like they belong to something. And for it to be taken away like this has been heart-wrenching to a lot of students and to the parents. We chose
Ms.
as
Hawkins, I'm sorry, that's your time.
one
Thank
last
you.
thing, please.
Thank
We
you very much.
chose not to go social media. We're doing this the respectful way, which
Thank you. Next up is Stacy Gardner, followed by Sarah Custer.
Good evening. I sound a little bit different than most people, so excuse my accent. I'm not from America. I became a citizen a year ago, and I'm a very proud new citizen of this country. I chose to live in this country. I chose to pledge allegiance to that flag. I chose to be in this county and in the state. What I struggle to choose is many decisions made for our children. I have a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. My 10-year-old goes to CW Shipley, and I have a 2-year-old that, bless his heart, doesn't know any better. I want better for our kids. Decisions made by you all affects kids, parents, siblings. It's so difficult in your situation, and I feel it, but so many better decisions could be made for our kids, for our country, for liberty and justice for all. That is our choice and our right as Americans. And I feel like we need to do better. I want to take the rest of my 3 minutes for us all to reflect. How can we do better? What can we do better for our children, for their children, for the parents that can't speak for themselves, for the kids that didn't make it? How do we do better? Please let me know when my time is up.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner.
Thank you.
Next up is Sarah Custer, followed by Michaela Lebowitz.
I'm going to try to say my piece without breaking the rules. I am here regarding the Alana Williams situation. I am not only here to speak for myself, for the other parents who can't be here and that have asked me to speak on their behalf, but also for her mother, Jennifer. They are heartbroken over the way this whole situation has been handled. The fact that it took until 4 hours before the graduation for some sort of compromise to be established. That family has gone through so much in the last month. And to wait until that last minute to try to find anything to help give them some kind of comfort and closure. The students wanted it. The families wanted it. Her family wanted it. What is this protocol that doesn't allow for a student like her to be remembered? She worked her butt off through her entire academic career. Her life was taken away way too soon. To have her treated in such a way was not just for anyone. It definitely wasn't just for Alana. Her mother wants a mission called Alana's Mission to make sure that no other family in this county has to go through the same heartbreak that she did when it came to her daughter's graduation. She is devastated the actions of certain people that took place, which I'm not allowed to name, so I will not name. But the actions of those people, the way they were treated, it made this whole situation, it was like losing her all over again. What parent, everyone is a parent, what parent would want to have to go through that? Your child is supposed to graduate, and just before they graduate, you lose them. Then when it comes to their graduation, that's how you're treated. The dignity that Alana deserved, the respect that she deserved, was not given to her. And it's only right that something be put in place so that that doesn't happen again. That no one is allowed to say, that's not the tradition. If that's the case and you need a tradition, a new tradition needs to be established. And I am proud of myself, my son, and everyone else who started with the standing ovation for Alana. And I don't care if people don't like how long it took. She deserved even more. She was not able to walk across that stage. She deserved to walk across that stage. The fact that she couldn't, it's heartbreaking. If you're a parent, it rips you to shreds to know what her parents went through. But imagine being her parents and knowing that not only did your daughter not walk across that stage, but you couldn't do it on her behalf. Every senior deserves that right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Michaela Lebowitz.
Okay, is it on?
Yes.
All right. Good evening. My name is Michaela, and these are my parents. I attend Harpers Ferry Middle School. I'm here because Miss Ogden and Miss Skinner stated in their CTMS forum they wanted to hear firsthand experience from students, and it is also my duty as a citizen and student of JCS to speak here today. Do you know what an anxiety attack is? It's a sudden, intense episode of fear. Sometimes this can turn into a panic attack. The symptoms can include chest pain, passing out, can't breathe, and feeling of being choked and muscle tension. I know this firsthand because I have anxiety attacks and I take medicine for them. I have 2 bottles right here. They were both filled October 2021. This one, I keep one at home and they have all 30 pills left. And I keep one at school, but there is only 7 left now from that date. My nurse and my guidance counselor do a great job helping me. And sometimes I don't have to take my medicine, but sometimes it can be really bad. So when they have to get my mom on the phone, but to get to the main point, I have been and still get harassed, bullied, and discriminated against my religion and also my sexuality. And I feel really intimidated and treated unfair. It's not only me, but others who attend Harpers Ferry Middle School who do not feel safe to attend our school to get our education. Of all the years, this has been one of the worst years, and it's not getting better. I shouldn't have to worry about having to defend myself or being shoved into a locker. I should be worrying about what my grades are, or what's for lunch, or who's dating who, or who's going to win the sports competition. I have a copy, the copy I just gave you, for everybody. I'm not only talking about conduct of students, but I'm also talking about teachers and administrators who are violating of the employee code of conduct. I'm filing complaints to the board against teachers and administrators at Harpers Ferry Middle School for their conduct toward me. Well, what is the outcome of this? Probably nothing. I've been told you're just a kid and nobody will believe you. Kids report things, but sometimes nothing is done. I stand here as a kid, just a kid speaking for other kids. I stand here hoping that we can make things change for the other kids, like my godbrother. He'll be in our school system soon, and I really hope he doesn't have to go through some of the things I go through. And I really hope something can be done because I've had a pretty hard time my whole time in school getting bullied and everything. And it's just really hard to get bullied. And I just want things to be better because sometimes it's not always just the kids. And I've been known to be apparently a bad kid, and I don't like that. So I hope there's a change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There are additional citizens' comments, but we'll have to take them in executive session later this evening because they deal with personnel. Next up, we have the consent agenda. And I see that there's at least one change on number 29.
Good evening. Yes, on the personnel actions, we have one change of assignment. It was originally submitted as part of the board agenda for one position, and since then it has changed to the other one, which is outlined in red on the personnel actions, line 29.
So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the change on number 29? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the consent agenda amended to number 29, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have number 13, unfinished business, a request for approval for special education contracted services bid.
Good evening. At the April board meeting, I brought before you an approval to take out an RFP for special ed contracted services. That RFP process was completed. We received 6 bids back, and I've submitted the bid for what we anticipate to be the best contracted service. And I will await any questions or a vote from the board.
And Mr. Wink, would you mind letting me know what the name of that company was?
Best Life, I'm
Best
sorry.
Life.
Yes.
And that was one of the ones that had everything, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Is there a motion to approve the special education contracted services bid to Best Life?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any questions or comments?
Just real quick, will the speech services then be in person? I know in the past we have done some virtual because of obvious need of COVID, but
Yes, ma'am. Our first option is always in person, except for our JVA students, which will have to stay virtual option though.
I'm sorry, what you said, is it virtual?
Only for JVA, ma'am, because our JVA students don't come on site, so they will continue to be virtual. But we are anticipating bringing everybody on site so that we can eliminate the virtual options.
And his sign?
His sign is a deaf educational interpreter for the deaf.
Mhm. I'm just trying to understand, are these all the services from Best Life, or these are the different services?
So Best Life's contract brought back all services that we bid out for. That included speech, occupational therapists, educational interpreters. His sign only brought back a contract for educational interpreters, as well as multiple other contractors left some pieces out, which means that if we go with some other ones, we will have to put more than one contractor together there to get all the services that we need.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to accept Best Life as the special education contracted services bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wink.
Thank you.
And then number 14, new business request for RFP for before and after school childcare. That has been deleted from the agenda, correct? All right. And Madam Superintendent, do you have any comments this evening? All right, and then I believe we do have a legal update in executive session. And there was a public comment, but it doesn't look like they're here anymore. So is there a motion to go into executive session for legal and possible public comment? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.